Hey everyone. In this video, I wanted to go over the Shakespeare response number 3 that is due this week and also say a few things about the midterm exam. So let's start by looking at the Shakespeare prompt. Okay, so let me pull that up. And here we go. Okay, so I begin this with a long quotation from A Midsummer Night's Dream by Theseus. I'm going to read the quotation to you. Lovers and madmen have such seething brains, such shaping fantasies that apprehend more than cool reason ever comprehends. The lunatic, the lover, and the poet are of imagination all compact. One sees more devils than vast hell can hold. That is the madman. The lover, all is frantic, sees Helen's beauty in a brow of Egypt. The poet's eye, in fine frenzy rolling, doth glance from heaven to earth, from earth to heaven, and as imagination bodies forth the forms of things unknown, the poet's pen turns them to shapes and gives to airy nothing a local habitation and a name. Such tricks have strong imagination, that if it would but apprehend some joy, and comprehend some bringer of that joy, or in the night imagining some fear, how easy is a bush supposed to bear? In short, lovers, madmen, and poets all assume that the sources of their fear, passion, and inspiration exist in the world. But if they were able to see the world clearly through cool reason, as Theseus says, they would find their intense emotions unwarranted. And the implication here is that how we imagine the world is determined by our emotions, not what the world truly is. If we are afraid, we imagine a threatening world that instigates our fear. If we are happy, we imagine a benevolent world that provides our happiness. This may be so. And again, this is what Theseus has to say on the issue. But sometimes a bear is a bear. Sometimes, our fears are warranted. Sometimes the world does give us reasons to experience joy. So if the play suggests that our experience of the world is shaped by our imagination, it also suggests that the way that we may be oblivious to how our emotions and imaginings are influenced by external factors, okay, such as social status, political conflicts, love potions, if we're thinking about the play. So in your response, what I want you to do is choose a character from the play. Use that character's words and actions to reflect on what the play is revealing about the relationship between imagination and reality. Is our reality defined by what we imagine or how we want the world to be? Or is what we imagine and desire ultimately determined by the world and outside our control? And you might think about the love potions and how they control who is in love with whom in this play. To extend your analysis, and this is one thing that's different from the other responses, choose one secondary source from the Bloom's literature database, available to you through the library website for GTC. Okay. Once in the Bloom's literature database, look for the Shakespeare Center link, click on the link to the Shakespeare Center and look for the links for A Midsummer Night's Dream. All right. So basically, here's the link. If I click on that, I see right up here, Bloom's literary reference online. Now, if I'm doing this off campus, then it's going to ask me to log in. And there are very specific login instructions that as long as you follow, you shouldn't have a problem logging in. Now, one thing that the login instructions do require that you have your student ID number. If you don't know your student ID number, you can actually find that pretty easily in Blackboard. So if I go into Blackboard, let's see, and then click on your name, okay, then you can find your student ID information. You can find your student ID information in Blackboard when you click on your name. I don't know why this is not working. Anyway, so once you have your ID, you should be able to log in. Okay. Just make sure you follow the instructions because it's a little confusing. They ask you to take your ID number and add it to another number, but you should be able to do it. So once you're here, you are now going to find the Shakespeare Center. So I scroll down, go to Shakespeare Center, and then you have all the plays here. All right, and they are in alphabetical order, so I can go to A Midsummer Night's Dream. All right, so what you want to do here is look for critical essay on A Midsummer Night's Dream. So go to the critical essays, and then you can see a number of essays, most of which on some level deal with the theme of imagination and its relationship to reality. So what you want to do is find one that seems relevant to what you're writing about. Okay, read it and be ready to quote from this. And also give a citation. And the citation is right here. So if I do this, select MLA, I've got a full citation here that I can use. Just make sure when you copy and paste this citation that you correct the spacing, the indentation, and the italics. Okay. So it should be hanging indentation, double space. The font should be consistent with the rest of your response. And this is, if you just copy and paste, then those things will not be consistent, right? So you do have to go in after you paste it and make changes so that it actually looks like the rest of your essay and it looks like a works cited page should. All right. Okay, so there should be no more than 80 quoted words in your essay. No individual quotation from Shakespeare or your secondary source should be more than 30 words. All right, and so I've broken down here how I want you to organize this. Very similar to what we've done before. So introduction, begin with the topic, the relationship between imagination and reality. What you want to do is give us a sense of the general topic before we dive into the play itself. All right. And then, introduce the play and the character you're going to be writing about. So I don't want a summary of the whole play, but, give us the main information we need about this character, then provide your thesis. Does this character's words and actions reveal about the relationship between imagination and reality? Make it a clear, focused, unified statement. Don't try to say everything that can possibly be said about the relationship between imagination and reality. Okay, just one thing that this character shows us about that relationship. And then you'll have two body paragraphs, just like before. You're setting up a quote from A Midsummer Night's Dream, and set that up with context, present the quotation correctly. Okay, and I've got some links for integrating quotations and formatting quotations, and then give at least 3 sentences of analysis. Okay, in one of these paragraphs, begin your analysis with a relevant point from your secondary source. All right, so this point might be quoted or paraphrased, so you don't necessarily need to quote from the secondary source, but you do need to cite from the secondary source here. So do your citation. So when you're citing from your secondary source, your article is going to have an author, right? So in this case, you're citing with, you can put in parentheses Barton, okay? And because these are our internet sources, they don't have page numbers. So all you need is the last name of the author when you're giving the citation. But you do need to have the last name of the author in there so that, you know, we know where this information is coming from. All right. So at least one of those body paragraphs after the quotation, you begin with a point from your secondary source that you then build on with your own analysis. All right. The analysis, again, explains what the quotation reveals about your thesis and topic. Your analysis is your justification for choosing this quotation in this example. All right. It's explaining how this quotation demonstrates the point you're trying to make about the relationship between imagination and reality. All right. When you're giving analysis, focus on specific details, words, images in the quotation, and their significance to the thesis and topic. And then your conclusion, you know, again, just a brief statement on the relevance of your thesis. How does your thesis improve our understanding or appreciation of this work? You know, how does it show that this work is still relevant today? Is one way you can approach the conclusion. So again, there should just be two sources on your works cited. Page 1 is Shakespeare. The other is the source from the Bloom's Literature Database. All right, and I have instructions in, you know, in the assignment link and announcements on doing the citation for Shakespeare. You know, how to do Shakespeare citations. And the formatting is the same as before. MLA, use 12-point Times New Roman font. It should all be double spaced. Again, the word should have a hanging indentation. It's your responsibility to make sure it's submitted correctly to Blackboard by the due date, which is 11:59 p.m. Sunday. All right. So that is the response. That's what you're doing here. Of course, you also have this week your midterm exam. Okay, so I'm going to go, you know, so I have information in the announcements on the midterm. This is the information on the citations that I mentioned about Shakespeare. Okay, and we've already practiced this a little bit with our discussion questions. Let's see. Okay. So basically, you know, with the midterm exam, you're looking at there's going to be multiple choice questions and then two short responses. You know, I originally was going to have you do some quotation identification, but I've taken that out. So it's just multiple choice, and then the two paragraph written responses. A response to the Canterbury Tales and a response to Dr. Faustus. All right. So basically, you get a brief prompt, and you write 2 paragraphs for each of these plays. All right. So you want to make sure you're ready to write about the reading selections of Canterbury and Dr. Faustus. Okay. For the multiple choice questions that are on the rest of the exam, you know, you want to, you know, review the reading materials, obviously, and then also review the quizzes. Okay. So, and you should be able to go in and see the quizzes. So if you go into My Grades and then find a quiz, if the quiz is graded, then you should be able to double click the title of the quiz. All right, so I'm just putting my cursor over the name of the quiz that's in blue. I double click that and I get to the screen. Okay, and then I see the calculated grade. I click the grade, and then I should be able to read the questions and see the correct answers. All right, so for the ones that I got right, the selected answer matches the answer I chose. For the ones I got wrong, the selected answer does not match what I chose. The selected answer has an X. The the correct answer is has the green check mark. All right, so you can use that to review the questions and answers from the quiz. So I suggest you do those for the quizzes before you take the midterm. Midterm exam, like the response, is due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. It is currently available for you to take. Don't even wait until this weekend to take the exam. All right, plan to take the exam. I would take it Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. All right, spend a day or two studying for the exam and then just take the exam. Get that out of the way. If you wait until Sunday, then there's always going to be the chance that you have technical issues that prevent you from completing the exam before the due date. And if that's the case, then you are out of luck. All right. And you come to me and you say, well, I tried taking the exam Sunday night and honor lock isn't working. My response is going to be, well, you should have tried taking the exam on Thursday. Okay. So that way, if honor lock didn't work, then you would have time to fix the issue. All right. So even though it's technically due on Sunday, those last 2 days are really intended to be there in case you're having some kind of technical problems. All right, to give you a little bit of a buffer. All right, so don't wait until the last minute. Take it Wednesday or Thursday, get it out of the way, and then devote the rest of your time to your response. All right, that's the best way to approach it. Okay, if you have questions, email me if you want to discuss anything. We can set up a time. Really any time during the week. If you just want to email me and let me know a time that you're available and you want to talk, we can talk about it. The Collaborate question and answer sessions. So I've changed those to Wednesdays from 2 to 2:45. That's basically, I'm just on Blackboard Collaborate. If anybody wants to jump in and ask questions during that time, you don't have to schedule an appointment with me. But if that time doesn't work for you, then just reach out to me and we'll schedule a time to meet and we could talk about the response, or we could talk about the exam if you want to talk about the exam. Okay. All right. Thanks, and have a great rest of your